at y94.com.
It is the Carriage Kids Radiothon, year 23, Y94, the number one hit music station. And what makes the Radiothon is getting to hear the stories directly from the families being impacted right now by Sanford Children's Hospital, or those stories that have played out over the past couple of years. Speaking today with Brittany and Aaron from Moorhead about their son Max. Thank you guys for coming in today.
You bet.
Hey, you're welcome.
I'm glad to be here.
Well, tell us a little bit about Max and the journey through the hospital, if you could.
Sure. So Max is 7.5 years old, and just after Christmas of 2014, life took Aaron and I a little bit on a different path that we hadn't imagined before. So our family of 3 was growing. I was 6 months pregnant with our son Max, and we had just had an intense ultrasound with a prenatal team from Abbott Northwestern, and the results show that Max had a heart defect. So all of our plans to deliver in Fargo went out the window, and we were quickly swept up into the details of needing to move to the cities when I was about 36 weeks along to deliver in the hospital there. And we were told to expect that Max might not even make it to delivery in the first place. So he was born on March 31st, 2015 at 38 weeks, and he needed to be put on oxygen right away. He was taken to the NICU at the Children's Hospital in Minneapolis, and 4 days later we found out his ultimate diagnosis, which is a rare partial trisomy 17 Q translocation, and basically that means that he's like 1 in a few million. So our son would not walk or talk and would have the cognitive level of an infant. So needless to say, we were beyond devastated. 463 days at Children's Hospital, we finally got to bring Max home, and the only way we could bring him home is him being trached and vented and needing 24-hour nursing care. So 7.5 years later, Miracle Max is still with us, but not without its continuous challenges. He is coded several times in the hospital. He's had more surgeries than we can count at this point. And he actually almost passed away last fall after complications from a major abdominal surgery. So he's quite the trooper, quite the miracle, quite the fighter. So
I'm going to ask the question that I think everybody that is listening would be thinking. You barely find out you're pregnant, and I would imagine you have visions of the future of this child in your mind.
yeah.
How do you even begin to process once you understand what life is going to look like? How does a person even process that?
Yeah, it was very difficult, to say the least. I know we've also got an older daughter, Lydia. She's 10, and she's been a wonderful nurse at Max's side here. And so we were kind of expecting the same sort of life, I think, with a baby boy too, and that was kind of taken away from us a little bit, you know. And but Max is so full of life now too. He laughs all the time, and just his smile can light up a room. He's very energetic, even though he's nonverbal. The kids at school, he goes to Reinertson in Moorhead, and kids at school give him high fives, and they'll hold out their hand, and he'll hit their hand and laugh. And so he's very social and just has an exuberance of life that is pretty amazing. And so he's really been a blessing in different ways. Maybe not what we would have expected, but certainly a blessing.
And how has it been for his sister?
I think, like any child that has a sibling, you have to learn to share mom and dad's time. So I think there's times that she realizes that mom and dad need to attend to Max more. You know, a lot of times it happens when he's not doing well. And when you have a normal sick child, it might take one of the parents. But when Max is not doing well, it takes the nurses and Aaron and I usually to help make him comfortable and are sometimes overwhelmed with how to make decisions for how to care for him, kind of depending on what his symptoms are. But I wanted to circle back to what you had said too, because you had asked, how do you process that? And I wanted to make sure that we said, like, the first thing that we did after literally falling into a puddle of tears is we prayed. We prayed. And I would say that Aaron and I would not still be here married and having this family without the Lord in our life. God has truly sustained us.
A lot of the families that we've had come through over the years are fairly fortunate in that their time where they need care at Sanford Children's Hospital it's pretty finite, right? There's this window of time in their life where they go and they deal with this and they conquer the issue and they move on. And that is the best case scenario. And they are grateful to have this hospital right here in town. As people whose journey is really, I don't know if you see an end, right? You're always going in there. Tell me the importance from that perspective of having Sanford Children's Hospital in your backyard, essentially.
Well, when we first brought Max home, again, he was 15 months old when we brought him home. And we were terrified to bring him 4.5 hours away from the hospital that knows Max well, right? They'd taken so much great care for him. But we started realizing as time went on, when something was going wrong with him, we couldn't just jump in the car with Max and drive 4.5 hours. And so that's when we started looking at seeking out help for Max at Sanford Children's. And it has been phenomenal. I mean, Max is considered a frequent flyer there. And we all say that lovingly. For whatever reason, when he needs to be admitted for whatever things, we have nurses that will come in giving Max, love and smiles, and they are kind of like a second family to us now. And so having Sanford 15-minute drive from our home is huge. Having Sanford for our community, for other families like us, is so huge. We're so thankful for it.
So there are things at that children's hospital that just it wouldn't be there if it weren't for something like this radiothon and similar fundraisers throughout the year. For anyone that is fortunate enough they haven't walked in those doors, they've not had their child need the services, what would you say to inspire them to go, you know what, this is worth my 60 cents a day?
I would say, honestly, Sanford has saved Max's life more than one time. So if you've never experienced having your child be sick enough to go into the hospital, know that having them here for kids like us, or like Max, to feel like, okay, we've done everything we can at home, and now we need the experts to take care of our son. To have that here, I would say it is 110% worth your 60 cents a day to help provide extremely excellent care for kids like Max.
Now, before we let you guys go, and thank you, did I catch it right when you first walked in? You're both teachers, and you came here straight from school?
Yes.
That's right.
These are two people that just spent all day caring for other people's children to come to the radio station to share their own story about their own child at an event called Cares for Kids for other children that they don't even know. You two are just amazing people. You sound like amazing parents. I'm sure you're even amazing teachers. Thank you so much for coming here today.
Thank you so much for having us.
We appreciate it.
Thank you for all that you do, and we're thinking about Max today, okay?
Thank you.
It's the Cares for Kids Radiothon on Y94.
To see more pictures and videos, check out